What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. And Donald Trump is in the Epstein files because he's a predator. He's a child predator. Him and Ghislaine Maxwell used to diddle kiddies and throw them away like trash for fun. And just in case the rest of Congress forgot about it, we're going to be joining Cliff Cash and a few other people in D.C. on September 2nd. When they come back from their recess. And maybe you want to come join us down there. We'll have more on that in subsequent videos. But now, the story. Oh boy, YouTube. Slap me with a biscuit and call it breakfast because we're going to spread some joy today. This news is just as sweet as sourwood honey coming straight out of North Carolina. Huh? What? That was good. I'm not doing it again, I'll tell you that much. Now, many of you know that on July 29th, in a very rare grow a spine moment, especially for a Republican, Senator Tom Tillis stood on the floor of the U.S. Senate and announced he was retiring, people. He would not be seeking re-election. Now, just a couple of days prior to this decision, he gave a fiery speech on the Senate floor opposing the Only Billionaires Benefits bill. You know the one that takes away every good thing Americans have unless you're a billionaire. You know, no more hospitals, Medicaid, that type of thing. Yeah, that one. So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit for that because he did it. He actually did it. And he brought the receipts. Before publicly opposing Trump's Only Billionaires Benefits bill, Senator Tillis had contacted 3 different analytical groups in North Carolina. One group had a Republican bias, one group had a Democrat bias, and the other group was supposedly independent. He also contacted North Carolina's newly elected Democratic governor's office, Josh Stein's his name, for the analysis from him. All 4 reports, YouTube, came back the same. 650,000 people in North Carolina would lose their health care coverage. 650,000 people in one state. That was a bridge too far. Now, I say a smidgen, a small amount of credit because he did oppose the bill. Now, that was a thing that was overboard, not the convicted felon, right? Not destroying FEMA, not getting rid of DEI and oppressing black and brown people at all costs, not throwing immigrants and citizens in jail and sending them to El Salvador. But this is the one thing, fine. So I'll give him that little bit of credit. Almost immediately after this guy voiced his opposition to the Only Billionaires Benefits bill, in true Trumpian fashion that we've all known and come to love so well, Donald Trump started attacking Republican Senator Tom Tillis. Trump even threatened to primary him, and Tillis folded like a day later. That's it. He said, I had enough, I'm retiring. So, Democrats' phone lines and emails blew up with excitement. This was huge. This meant that now there's an open seat, an open Senate race that maybe you can help to do a little bit of glue in that slim gap between you and the Republicans in the Senate. And after the initial excitement from all of that, Democrats were faced with the obvious question, people. Who could they get to run for this seat? What candidate might they enlist that possibly had experience in government offices, right? High name recognition, which is necessary, let's just be honest, and a high favorability rating, which is hard, being that the Democrats have just pummeled in the ratings as they've become more feckless and laying down for a fascist state. But we're not talking about that. This is good news. One name kept coming up, people. Former 2-term Governor Roy Cooper. Yes, everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. I'm talking about Republicans, MAGA, everybody, because he just did a good job. What was he doing since he left the governor's office? Turns out this guy was involved in a teaching gig at Harvard. Harvard University. He's teaching an 8-week course at Harvard about government. It doesn't get any, for me, it doesn't get any better than that. Like you leave one service job and go to another. As a teacher myself, I'm enthused. I'm enthused about this news. You should be too. At first, he was thought to be uncommitted, right? That he wasn't going to run for the seat. Like, well, I don't know, because he knows how filthy and disgusting it is. Wading through the muck and the sewage out there in Washington, D.C., while indecent people genuflect and pray to an orange god and tell the rest of the nation how unchristian they are. I understand it. He was hesitant. But while the North Carolina Democrats may have felt somewhat disappointed, that name kept coming up. That name kept coming up, people. The excitement was real. It was palpable. You could almost hold it in your hand and feel it, YouTube. And you could experience it in the ton of articles written by Democrats in the newspapers all over the states. And shortly thereafter, this happened.
It wasn't always this hard, because being in the middle class meant something. You could afford a home, your kids went to good schools, your job paid enough to cover the basics, and most summers you could get away for a few days. For the most part, life was pretty good. I'm Roy Cooper, and I know that today for too many Americans, the middle class feels like a distant dream. Meanwhile, the biggest corporations and the richest Americans have grabbed unimaginable wealth at your expense. It's time for that to change. I grew up in Nash County working on the farm every summer. My mom was a public school teacher, my dad a small town lawyer and farmer. It's where I started my family, taught Sunday school for years, and started my law practice that helped everyday people and small businesses. When you made me your attorney general, I prosecuted criminals and took on scammers, big banks, and drug companies. When you made me your governor, we balanced the state budget every year and worked with Republicans to raise teacher pay, recruit thousands of better paying jobs, and expand Medicaid to more than 650,000 working North Carolinians. But right now, our country's facing a moment as fragile as any I can remember. And the decisions we make in the next election will determine if we even have a middle class in America anymore. I never really wanted to go to Washington. I just wanted to serve the people of North Carolina right here where I've lived all my life. But these are not ordinary times. Politicians in D.C. are running up our debt, ripping away our health care, disrespecting our veterans, cutting health for the poor, and even putting Medicare and Social Security at risk just to give tax breaks to billionaires. That's wrong, and I've had enough. I've thought on it and prayed about it, and I've decided I want to serve as your next United States Senator. Because even now, I still believe our best days are ahead of us. I love North Carolina, and I know you do too. I need you to be with us, and I can't wait to see you out there.
And just like that, North Carolina Democrats' dream had come true. Roy Cooper is running for Senate. Once again, Democrats' phones and emails started blowing up, people. But not just in North Carolina. You see, this kind of excitement was quickly spreading across the entire country. Donations to Cooper's campaigns just started pouring in. He's raised over $3.4 million in the first 24 hours. A record amount for North Carolina, that is. Okay? Even Governor Pritzker from the great state of Illinois, my old state, flew in to celebrate with Democrats at Governor Cooper's announcement ceremony. But you want to know more, YouTube. You want to know who this guy really is, why the people of North Carolina love him so much, and why the Democrats are so daggone excited. So, I got you. Let's dive in, shall we? Now, Roy Asbury Cooper III. He was born and raised in Nash County, North Carolina. His mother was a school teacher. His dad, an attorney and a farmer. And it don't get no more down home, white bread, just good old fashioned rural community guy than that. You can't fake that. His life was spent getting good grades and working on the farm. And you can't make that type of stuff up. You cannot feign that sort of work ethic. And you see it in how he works today. You see it in how he presents himself today. So it's not like, oh, I'm just using this for political purposes. And authenticity is what wins races right now, in a true sense of what they call family values down there. And make no mistake, we're not talking about the type of family values that thinks that Trump is a family man, but Biden somehow is the devil. That's not the type of family values we're talking about. We're talking about actually valuing family. Not the type of family values that thinks touching kids when they're alive is okay, but aborting them before they're born to help the mother is against God. Not those type of fake-ass family values. Real ones, okay? Roy Cooper possesses a strong, indisputable, and unwavering moral compass that defines the difference between what's right and wrong. And yes, he has a strong sense of faith when nobody's watching and when they are. That's called integrity. That's actually him. That's actually him. Guy who leaves the governor's office and goes to teach at Harvard. He doesn't go to a lobbying firm. The man has a long-standing membership in his local Presbyterian church. It's an asset. Anyway, Roy Cooper's accomplishments as governor of North Carolina are so many and so diverse. It's difficult to know really where to begin, YouTube. But let's start here. Let's start with his successfully negotiating the Medicare expansion, right? In Georgia, when the expansion came, they decided not to do it, leaving millions on their own that were actually ready to be paid for by the federal government, just to prove the black president wrong. On the other hand, Roy Cooper negotiated the expansion and gave 600,000 North Carolinians health care coverage. He did this after the previous Republican governor had said that North Carolina will never expand Medicare under Obamacare, just like the other racist governors of the South said. He also relieved over $4 billion in medical debt for 2 million low-income people. He secured over $835 million for mental health care treatment. He began Healthy Opportunities pilot program. He raised the teachers' pay by 19%. He invested more than $1 billion in early child care centers and expanded pre-K. Yeah. He created more than 640,000 good-paying jobs. Because of his leadership, people, North Carolina has been named the #1 state in which to do business 3 of the 4 years. His clean energy initiatives helped create jobs and made North Carolina more energy independent. Roy also negotiated the repeal of HB 2, right? That's the bathroom bill. The bill was so horrible to the LGBTQ community, folks, that the NCAA had to pull their Final Four basketball tournament out of North Carolina, costing the state billions of dollars in lost revenue. After Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina with widespread and massive flooding, Governor Cooper established the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resilience, and he led the delegation to D.C. to request $25.57 billion in federal aid. That little bit that he was asking for life-saving federal aid was approved by Biden. But all you disgusting, filthy, black-hearted, nasty MAGA Republicans, regular Republicans, and just straight-up racist white people who would chop off your own nose to spite your face voted in the guy who would cut it after it was already approved by Biden. Yeah, Trump cut it. He eliminated the FEMA money that was allocated to help North Carolina pay for debris removal as well. So when Donald Trump landed at the Asheville airport in Jeffrey Epstein's plane, and he spoke in front of only about 100 people in, Swannanoa, North Carolina, he told the people of Western North Carolina that help is on the way. Then he cut the aid that was already allocated, the Roy Cooper aid. You know, the one that Roy Cooper got for you. Trump cut it. Biden approved it. Trump cut it. MAGA racist, immoral, indecent Republicans. You did that to yourself. And the way you get this type of stupidity in people's votes against their own self-interest is because they're stuck in a bubble. They're stuck in a bubble. We can't do that. We can't do that. That's why, actually, I use ground news when I'm doing just about any story. Ground news has very quickly become one of my most prized resources, my go-to even, because I get to find out what stories are not covered by the blind spot feature, which I love. But not just the blind spot feature. Any of these stories that I bring up, I can see what either side is saying about it. I can also see who's paying for those headlines. It tells me who owns the publication, which also lets me know who they're writing it for. Many times, none of that is for us. But understanding the context helps us understand the story. Ground news is absolutely one of, if not the best way to know that you've gotten every side of a story and that there's not enough spin in the world that could have you misinterpret it. And everybody else has to pay for your stupidity and ignorance. Anyway. This is a good video. It's a good video. One more minor but noteworthy accomplishment by Governor Cooper that I want to mention here. His last year in office, he established a North Carolina music office. As a music teacher, this means a lot to me. This means a lot to me. This makes North Carolina one of the only handful of states that now have a state-funded office dedicated to supporting local musicians, music education, and the expansion and advancement of a music industry in North Carolina. You kidding me? This is just one of the many ways that Roy Cooper has supported the diverse culture and the arts of a people who have a diverse culture, especially in the arts. North Carolina, yeah, it's deep with musicians. And the type of forward thinking, the investment in something like that shows me really who he is. Not that I was born on the farm, the white Wonder Bread stuff. Not just the getting money while, the orange man cuts it. Not just all the things he did for the healthcare and the everyday lives, bringing in the jobs, blah, 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 blah. Everything is pitch perfect. But when a guy does that, when a guy cares as much about the culture as he does the financial well-being of a state, that shows you who he is. That tells you how he's thinking. And that's the reason why we're excited. We're excited because he's real, because he's genuine. These may sound like tropes to you, but in the political landscape, they sound like winners. And that's what we need as Democrats. Okay? It can easily be described as a human embodiment of the concept of the true Southern gentleman. That's why South Carolina, MAGA, Republicans, Democrats alike, loved him. And now, with him throwing his hat into the race, the North Carolinians are going to have an opportunity to be privileged by his leadership yet again. So let's look at this race. First, Roy Cooper starts this race with a 6-point lead over his Republican opponent, Michael Whatley. And that's according to the first Emerson College poll. Roy Cooper is a household name in North Carolina, right? Everybody knows who he is. Most people have never heard of Michael Whatley. And that 6 points is a big hurdle to overcome. Also, the same poll shows that the people of North Carolina have a 51% favorability of Roy Cooper. 51%. And only 33% have a negative view, with 13% unsure and 3% unfamiliar with him. And those are just the people who were either too young to remember or too stupid to fucking care. Whatley has a 17% favorable view. 16% unfavorable, and 30% are unsure who he is. After this poll, we can already see the attack ads from Republicans coming out against Roy. All right? You know you can. What they're gonna paint him as woke. They paint him as he's woke. And since nobody knows what that means, it works with dumb idiot Republicans. Somebody says woke and they go, yeah, sound about right to me. Don't be mad at me. Stop doing it. And I won't make fun of you. You're the guy who voted in the bum who took away your own Helene care and your own FEMA response. Stop doing it, and I won't make fun of you. Anyway, That woke stuff is going to work on the stupid people, for sure. And they're going to pay a lot of money in there. But I say the way that you respond to that, which I'm sure a smart guy like Cooper is going to do, is 640,000 new jobs in North Carolina under him, 600,000 additional people on health care in the state. And if that's called woke, give me some more of that. That's how you respond to it. And that'll work because it's already worked before. The Republican attack ads against Cooper are the same thing we've seen for years. Woke, woke, woke. He's a liberal socialist, communist. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. His policies hurt the people. They're lame, they're weak, and they're lost with that. But they don't have anything else. Republicans should be ashamed, and Cooper has defeated them already. It's tiresome. We need Roy Cooper, people, and not just for North Carolina, for the entire country. If North Carolina can deliver this seat for the Democrats, we hold a much better chance of taking the majority in 2026. And I don't have to explain why that's a good thing. If you're watching this channel, I hope, and you made it this far. So if you like what you see and you want to help, please go to Roy Cooper for North Carolina. Find his official website. Volunteer. Donate. Donate whatever you can. Matter of fact, do anything you can to help. Do anything. The race is predicted to be the most expensive Senate race in U.S. history, and that's only because the one after that's going to be more expensive. This is how it's going. That billionaires benefits bill, they're benefiting. And they're going to spend whatever they have to keep it. So we've got to work hard. We've got to fight hard. We need everybody. And we can bring this home, YouTube. We can bring this home. We need everybody. I want to start with a couple things. I got some new members on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Everybody's getting a shout out on my next video, probably on Wednesday. And we got new members on Patreon, helping to donate there. Thank you so much. We got something special coming up. Something very special coming up tomorrow on Native Americans, Lakota Nation to be specific. But I want all of you to think about how you can help on September 2nd. We're going down to D.C. and we're going inside of the offices of the government with pictures of Epstein and Trump and put it in their faces and ask them what are they doing about this on the day that they get back from their vacation. We're going to remind them with bullhorns that we've not forgotten. We're not letting it go. It's important. We need them to know we're not letting it go. There's also something happening on September 1st. I'll give you more details about that, but you can go to flareusa.org, FLARE.USA.org, and see what they're up to, September 1st. But we're doing this, y'all. Everything we can. Last but not least, we're not going to be able to be on YouTube forever. Maybe not. We might. But most likely talking like this, we won't. So go to twitch.tv/politicaldraindigital. Twitch.tv/politicaldraindigital. That's where we're putting our second basket of eggs in, right, for right now. So when it's too ridiculous to stay on YouTube, or when we get kicked off, we'll be viable somewhere else to give you this type of information that you need to know. With that being said, whatever you do, remember, tomorrow we fight. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say Our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads, it's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.